Well, it's just about September, which means that summer is like over, and this is how I feel about it. But it is the start of a new month, which means we are getting our September budget ready. So here is a look at our actual household budget for the month of September. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life while still accomplishing financial goals through the use of a budget. So I share my personal household budget here on YouTube. So today I'm breaking it down to show you all the income that we plan to bring in this month and how we plan to either spend or save every dollar that we bring in through our budget. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that the budget template I'm using is one that you can get yourself on my shop. I will have a link to it down in the description box below. You can use it in Excel, Google Sheets, numbers, all the things. It's an instant download, so you can go check it out there. And that's the budget template that I use every month. So without further ado, let's get into it to show you this budget. I live in Portland, Oregon with my husband Jacob and our 15-month-old son Peter. And here's how we plan to spend our money this month. So the first thing that we have here in our budget template is our income. So we have Jacob's income. My husband Jacob works remotely. He works in product marketing doing competitive intelligence, and he works out of his home office here. So he does bring home an income, and I keep this blocked out for privacy for him and his employer. But he is paid every other week, which is new for us, or at least we haven't had this situation for income in a very long time. We used to get paid twice a month, but this job he started in June, so we're still trying to get in the groove of it all. But being paid every other week means that 2 months of the year he takes home an extra paycheck, but we always budget off of the month. So we are budgeting this way off of like being able to cover everything, you know, with just those 2 paychecks a month. And then when we have those 2 months of the year with that like bonus third paycheck basically, then we kind of use that as like a bonus surplus that we can put towards additional things like financial goals. But for right now, this is just a 2 paycheck month regular, and so this is his take-home pay. And this is after taxes, insurance now benefits, as well as 401k, and we are maxing out Jacob's 401k. So we are putting about over $1,500 this month into his 401k. So his paycheck is after all of those sorts of deductions. And then we have our business income, my business income. So I make money from my YouTube channel and everything that I do on social media, and I pay myself a salary out of that, which I'm also keeping blocked out for privacy because of Jacob's job. So the next thing that you'll see here is other income, which is the $300 for the child tax credit that we've been receiving. And I also am kind of anticipating that we probably maybe will owe this money back once we file our taxes, because we're close to that like income threshold, so we may owe it back. But anyway, we're including it in the budget. I didn't opt out of it, even though I could have, but we're including it now, but I know that I may owe it back later. But that's okay because we save money every month to go towards taxes as well, because I am self-employed, I have my business, and I pay taxes for my business for sure. So I'll let you say our total take-home pay that we plan to budget off of this month is $64.40. Now, this is a pretty low income month for us. It's probably the lowest, but I have to look at this in like the grand scheme of things because we are really aggressively putting money towards Jacob's 401k, and our plan is going forward to be able to max it out each year, to put the amount each month that would be necessary to max it out. So with that deduction, obviously with $1,500 going towards the 401k, obviously that reduces the take-home pay that we have to budget off of. So that is some perspective that there would be like $1,500 more if we weren't putting all that money. But since all of our income that we budget off of is our take-home pay after all of those things, you don't see that there. So just wanted to make that little comment. So we use a zero-based budget, which means all of our income equals all of our expenses or money out. So all the things that we plan to spend money on should equal our income. So now to share with you how we plan to spend every dollar this month. First, we have our normal expenses. We have our tithe. We are Christians and we believe in tithing and giving to our church and other organizations. So we give $6.44 this month, which is 10% of our take-home pay. Okay, the next thing that we have here is African New Life. We support 2 children in Rwanda through African New Life, and that is $78 a month. And then we support another missions organization for $40 a month. So that's all of our monthly giving there. The next thing that we have here is our mortgage, which is $2,220.50. So we do own our home in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, and this payment is everything, which includes principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. All those things go into our mortgage. We used to pay PMI, but we don't anymore because we have over 20% equity and we were able to get out of PMI. And as you can see, this is 34% of our take-home pay, but really not, because if you think about it, if there was an extra $1,500 here, then that amount would be different. Actually, let's add it in just to see. So we'll do equals 300 plus 1,500. So it'd be more like 28% right now. And this is a pretty low income month as well, because I took home less from my business as well. So that is about what we have for our mortgage. And next we have is our HOA. We live in a neighborhood with a homeowners association, so that is $121.46 each month. Next we have is water sewer, which is about $93 to $95 each month, so I just carried that over. And then we have natural gas. So we have natural gas to heat our home, and also for any kind of baking or like cooking, our stovetop and oven are natural gas as well. So since we are in the middle of summer, this should be pretty low. It's actually been like $20 lately, so maybe I'll just update this to like $20 because that should be pretty low. Next we have is trash. We pay our trash every other month, and this month it's not a trash month. And then we have electric. I'm putting it at 70, but I'm actually just going to transfer over that $20 here and just make this 90 because it has been a little bit higher. We have air conditioning, central air. Like I said, we live in Portland, Oregon. It doesn't get too hot during the summer, but we do use our air conditioning to make it, you know, a comfortable temperature in here. I'm grateful that we have central air because a lot of places in Oregon don't. But that'll be maybe $90. Shouldn't be higher than that for electric to run our air conditioning. And that is for August air conditioning that we'll pay in September, and any other sort of like lights and electricity we use for the month. Next we have is internet at $44.99 each month, and that's a standard. And then we have our phones. So this is for my cell phone and Jacob's. Together that is $109.59. Next we have is insurance, and this is car insurance. Remember, our health insurance gets taken out of Jacob's paycheck, so that is taken out before our net pay there. But our car insurance for both of our cars is $109.64. Then we have life insurance, which is at $52.89. We have a policy on myself and my husband Jacob, a term life insurance policy. Next we have is groceries, which we have budgeted at $400. We've definitely increased this amount as time has gone on because, as you guys have probably seen, the cost of groceries has been going up due to inflation lately. And also we now have a 15-month-old son who eats a bit more food, so we are just allowing ourselves to be able to increase this a bit. I shared that it would be great to stick to about $150 per month per person in your household. So for us, that would actually be $450 each month, but I think we could do it for $400. We previously were budgeting, you know, like $300 or less, but yeah, definitely need to increase that now. Next we have is eating out, which we budgeted at $150. And then we have gas for our cars at $50, and I think that should be okay. That's basically one fill up a month. Since my husband Jacob works remotely, like from home, and then I also own my business and work from home, we don't have any sort of commuting, so we only use gas whenever we go somewhere else. So no commuting here. So that's why we're able to keep this low. When we were commuting 2 years ago, you know, pre-pandemic, both of us were commuting into the office. We were spending $200, if not more, on gas. So it's been great to have that reduction there. Next we have is fun. We budget $50 a month for fun things, and we'll see if we get to do anything fun in the month of September. And then miscellaneous. It's always so important to have a miscellaneous category in your budget because there's always something random that could come up. So $150 there. Next we have is $50 for Peter. And this is a brokerage account that we have in our names, but the purpose of this is that we want to be able to gift this to Peter, or gift money out of it to Peter later on in his life. We'd love to be able to help him with something like a car when he turns 16, or help him with a wedding or down payment on a house, like all these things. So we're just putting $50 a month into a brokerage account that we're keeping in our names that we plan to gift him once he has these things come up. And our hope with that is that Peter would be working towards all of these things and working financially to like save for his own car, and we could like match what he puts to it. Or same thing with like a down payment on a house, and make sure that he's also working on these things and has that responsibility. And then we'd love to be able to help him out with that out of this money. So that's what we have set aside there. And next we have is college. We put $200 a month into his 529 college savings plan as per usual. So all of our total expenses or money out that gets, sent out is $4,674.92. So now to show you our savings section, our sinking funds. And I love this part because I love saving money towards things. But because we have a lower income, there are things that we're not putting as much money to this month. Spoiler. Okay. First we have is Jacob. Jacob gets $250 of personal spending money each month. And this is obviously more than mine. As you can see, I get $100. But Jacob is definitely a spender, and he's just been wanting to be able to do additional things. And we've lived our lives so strictly to work on our finances for the last 6 years of our marriage that we should be able to enjoy our money a bit more and do fun things. We were so strict while we were paying off debt. If you don't know our whole story, we paid off $87,000 of student loans while we were making $66,000 a year combined, and then we saved for an emergency fund, bought new to us cars that were used, save for our house down payment. We've been really aggressive in working on these financial goals to be able to get to the point that we are now. And I'm so grateful for that. But we all start somewhere. Anyway, back in the day, we each got $20 of personal spending money a month when we were working on paying off our loans. And now we should just be able to enjoy ourselves a bit more now that we our big goals right now are working on retirement and other investing opportunities. So we just want to be able to enjoy life a little more. So $250 is what Jacob gets. I get $100. I like putting this in the sinking funds part of our budget because that way it can carry over month over month if we want. And I'm such a saver that I often don't spend all my money in one month. So I like being able to save it up for something bigger if I want later. So we have this in the sinking fund section. Next we have is extra giving, another giving thing that we have. We put $50 a month into extra giving. And that way if an opportunity comes up, a random giving opportunity, we have the money there and we can say yes to additional things if they come up. So I love having that as well. Then we have gifts, $50 for gifts for things like any sort of birthday or baby shower, any sort of other gifts we have to give people. Then we have clothing, and this is at $50 as well for myself and Jacob if we ever need any sort of new clothing, which we often don't, but it's there if we need it. Then we have vacation. We just lowered this down to $300 instead of $400. We did have this at $400 for a long time, and we were saving for vacation even throughout the pandemic when we didn't have anything planned. But we actually recently just went on a trip to Hawaii. We went to the Big Island, and it was wonderful. We got to go with family and enjoy that. We also had an additional vacation planned in October. We were planning to go back to Hawaii, but this time to Disney Aulani, and it was just going to be myself, Jacob, and Peter. But since we came home from our August trip to Hawaii, we realized that going on vacation with a toddler is honestly just kind of hard, and it was really nice having that family help that we had. And since we just went on vacation, we were do we need to do this again in a month and a half, and have it be a little bit harder because we don't have that help? And so we just felt we were able to get the vacation out of our system and go to Hawaii a couple weeks ago. And so therefore we don't feel we need to go on vacation again. So we're we'll just save that trip. So we've canceled it and we're going to do it another time. We'll take Peter to Aulani at some other time. But we just didn't feel right now was the best time for it. So therefore we don't have anything specifically booked that we're planning to go on vacation for until May of next year, when we hopefully will go down to California. So anyway, that being said, we're we don't need to aggressively save as much into vacation. So we lowered this to $300 instead of $400, but I still want to be able to save money for this because I want the full permission to go or travel whenever and we can. And we also want to do more things small weekend trips. Our first vacation or trip with Peter was at almost 15 months, and we went to Hawaii. We took a 6-hour flight to Hawaii. So that was definitely a really big trip where maybe we should do little small things instead. So that's what we plan to do. Next we have is $100 for Christmas. So Christmas, you guys, is only a few months away. You're going to start buying Christmas gifts soon. So if you haven't yet, start including this in your budget. Put it in a sinking fund. We are saving $100 a month for Christmas, and that way when December rolls around, we'll have all the money set aside ready to be spent for Christmas. I love using sinking funds because it spaces out the cost of something over like several months. So that way our December budget wouldn't be blown out of the water with Christmas expenses. So we have that there. Next we have is $25 for medical. If we have any sort of medical, expenses there. We also now have an FSA, so we'll definitely use those dollars first. And then if we need additional money for medical things, then we'll have that there. Next we have is cord blood registry. We did cord blood banking for Peter when he was born, and that was an awesome experience. It was wonderful. I actually have a link for them, a referral link, which I'll include in the description box down below if you want to do that. But we're so glad that we did. There is an annual storage fee for that though, and that kind of crept up on us at Peter's first birthday, where we were like, oh my gosh, we have to pay for the storage fee. Totally forgot about it. So now I'm just including it in our budget every month, saving $31 a month, and then when his birthday rolls around and we have to pay the storage fee again, we'll have the money set aside. Next we have is car maintenance at $75 each month, and that covers any sort of repair or maintenance that we need to do on our cars. Next we have is house maintenance. This has been increasing, as you guys may have noticed, but we're now saving $400 a month into house maintenance to cover any sort of house maintenance or repair that we may need to make. The way that we've come up with this number is we took our house value, times that by 1%, and then divided that by 12 to save that much each month. So the intention is to save 1% of our house value over the year for house maintenance. Now our house is like 7 or 8 years old, I think. So it's pretty newer, and so we haven't had to do a lot of things, but that way we have the money set aside if we have to replace the hot water heater, something like that comes up, or just even small things as well. So we like having that fund there, and we've been increasing this because you guys may have noticed house values have definitely increased over the last year as well. So we've been kind of increasing that semi-accordingly. Next we have is household. We put $100 a month into a household fund, and that covers everything like paper towels, toilet paper, like all those sorts of things. Next we have is baby, which I've shared before that I should probably rename this to be like child or something because Peter's now a toddler. But we put $100 a month into a baby fund to be able to get anything that Peter needs, like clothing, diapers, toys, anything, baby gadgets, or like whatever would just come out of this baby fund. So anything related to Peter, because we have him, is $100 a month. Next we have is brokerage. So this is where we're putting every extra dollar right now. Every extra penny is to our brokerage account. This is money that we are investing. We'll probably use a little bit of it eventually to be able to get a new to us car, but we also would really love to use this for the long future, like retirement and things like that. So we are investing this extra money, which right now is $134.08. So our budget right now is kind of just breaking even between all of our expenses and all of our savings. Mind you, we are maxing out our 401k, and we did front load max out our Roth IRAs, 2 of them, at the beginning of 2021 in January. And we plan to do that again in January, just in a few months. We plan to max that out again. But we are like really focusing on maxing out the Roth IRA and the 401k first, and then every extra dollar is kind of going to this brokerage account after we also work on funding Peter's college, and then also trying to enjoy our lives a little bit more with personal spending money, vacation, eating out, those sorts of things. So the reason why we only put $134 is because we have a zero-based budget, like I said, so every dollar needs to equal our income. So as you can see, the total out here calculates the amount that we have in savings as well as expenses, and this cell here shows difference should be 0, and it is 0. So that means we have a zero-based budget, and our budget is ready for the month of September. Like I said, it's a lower budget, but that's because we have money going to our 401k, now being taken out as well for insurance and those sorts of benefits, and Jacob is paid every other week. So I know that for these 2 months a year that we get, those will be like an extra bonus paycheck that we'll get to put extra money towards our big goals like that, which will be great. But for right now, that is the budget that we have. Let me know in the comments below, what is your budget looking like for September? What do you have planned? And don't forget, if you want to pick up this budget template, you can check it out with the link in the description box down below. I'll have it available to you. And I will look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.